this match is that they do look to have lane dominance, in my opinion. Now they are going to be utilizing a jungler, so they are weaker in that respect. But what you got on Tempest, I know he knows how to farm like a machine on Tempest. So the weakness that they experience in lane, kind of being down a player, is going to be compensated and very greatly with what you got on Tempest. But what I mean to say is that Vindicator is a pretty weak laning hero. However, they actually aren't playing it in the way that I anticipated it. They've got Puppet Soul on Vindicator, one of their strongest solo players, and he looks like he's stepping into the mid lane with Vindicator. So this is a mid Vindicator, and this is not something that you see every day.
No, and if it is a 1 versus 2, extra bonus on that Sage's lore, right? Still an AoE. Ooh, they lock Sasuke down in here. He got nowhere to go. He's trying to eat trees, but that's an early bloodlust. Doesn't get the ward down. Pop that cherry.
That is going to be a big one, and guess who got it? The mid Vindicator. So, I'm thinking when I see this Vindicator step into the mid lane, it's a pretty annoying hero to play against. The fact that it can use the Master's Incantation, kind of the auto attack ability to evade aggroing creeps and just kind of pepper in auto attacks without taking fire from the creeps onto the other player. But he's got a 500 gold start with Bloodlust as well, or 440. So, I was thinking, Puppet or Vindicator can be kind of weak. No escape, kind of low on the HP, but 440 gold is going to be able to solve some of those issues for him. And he's got Behemoth standing beside him, so it's a 2v2 in the mid lane. And meanwhile, we've got Puppet and Chipper in the bottom lane against Kraken. So Kraken going to be doing his best to try and soak up some XP and a little bit of farm versus the two heroes that he's stepping up against. And a pretty classic 1v1 matchup in the top lane of Magnus versus Bubbles, while Tempest is just free to farm in the jungle all game.
Yeah, and he's opting to go for the, I don't know if he thought maybe they warded his camps with that early Bloodlust, but he's farming in the enemy jungle here. And that's one thing I loved about What You Got's jungle. You really, and some of the other great jungle players over the course of history, like the good ones are very versatile in where they go, what they do. They adapt, they rotate when they're needed, and in that respect, that's a
and you can see he's actually making his way to the mid lane with his level 3. So looks like we're going to have a 3v2 in the mid lane.
Already wearing down the Vindicator, but that's a decent Fisher, forcing Andromeda out of position, and now What You Got can't really get in position. He does get the double stun off. Get the kill onto Vindicator, and now maybe more, and it's not even worth it at this point. Even if you get the Andromeda, losing both of these heroes is extremely detrimental.
And that is a big return kill. So yeah, Bloodlust for Vindy, but that is 2 kills for their mid lane player, for one for Gemini and one for Tempest, who's already doing a great job farming in the enemy jungle, as we said.
A haste rune appears. They might be able to just rinse and repeat this whole process on Vindy Behemoth, especially because they're going on the aggressor here. Gemini grabs the haste with his bottle. Definitely choosing the target of Vindicator, thinking that it's a little bit easier, but he does have that bottle. I don't think Vindy's in any real trouble here, even with the haste.
No, and Vindicator was just, Gemini did have the haste, but he's only level 2, and Vindy was out of range of Andromeda, so there was really no follow-up. Vindy wasn't in trouble, but, to mention, haste is a big rune, and they didn't really get much out of it, so Behemoth's going to wander onto Tempest here in the jungle and spot out what he's doing and fishes him away, but
doesn't accomplish much. What You Got still getting his gold there, sitting pretty over 300 GPM, but gold disparity's non-existent at this point. All of these lanes are kind of balanced.
Bubble's taking a lot of heat from Magnus in the top lane. I love to see this matchup. Both of these heroes actually have pretty even time against each other. Bubbles has a lot of poke against Magnus, but the slightest misstep, as we can see if the camera's watching, by Bubbles can get punished by Magnus with a nice lava surge onto the range creep.
Mid lane, Behemoth taking the glacial blast. Nothing comes of it. But yeah, I mean, Magnus is doing good. It's not always easy.
No, you have to position pretty. It's tough for the Bubbles to position properly against the Magnus to not get punished by what we just saw, but it's also equally difficult for Magnus to kind of evade every single shell surf that Bubbles can lay out onto the creep wave and avoid taking damage. So both of these heroes kind of have a nice little toolkit against each other. It's just as we kind of say, it always ends up being a tale of execution and just circumstance that ends up being the difference maker.
A side effect of this Tempest jungle, I'm looking at the Bubbles, got that bottle, which a lot of people don't like the item as much in the off lanes, or sometimes even early and mid. I don't know why, so there's been some hate about it. But he's not getting any of these top rune spawns. He's not been able to fill it once. Doesn't go back to base. Like, that's waste of gold for sure.
It is a waste of gold, especially now that we can see Magnus has completed Steam Boots. So Magnus is really, really dominating this lane at this point. Well, it's still pretty even. Not that even. I mean, Magnus has about an 80 GPM lead on Bubbles. Bubbles isn't doing too bad as he's nearing 300, but just the fact of where the gold is, right?
Yeah.
Just as you mentioned, a bottle versus completed Steam Boots, like it's going to be. We're going to start noticing Bubbles struggle at this point.
He's going to make that trip. Let's see if he can't use this kelp field to set something up. A double kill in mid or something would be huge for him and to assist his teammates. Because let's see.
And Kraken's actually taking a lot of pressure from Chipper in the bottom lane. Has to dip and dive some of these rockets.
Oh, he sidestepped 2 of them. 3. Bubbles keeping an eye on the Tempest here. Dang, those voids are pretty powerful. You couldn't even clear them with a UW.
Yeah, Tempest is extremely strong. Oh, Andromeda gets walled off by Behemoth.
Walled off in not long for this world. Gemini can only look on as his partner falls. Does try to collapse onto Behemoth with the Tempest here. He's got the Elemental Void, but no mana, so they can't use that to punish the Behemoth.
And Chipper finds a kill onto Kraken in the bottom lane, so very much a back and forth. Both of these teams, just finding kills against each other, almost in sync with each other. 3 and 3. But we talk about the strength of those elementals that Tempest is able to create. I'm not sure if you are aware, or maybe even the viewers, but Tempest can actually spawn a second set of those elementals now without the first despawning. So that hero is extremely effective at jungling and pushing towers. And not only that, another major mechanic that was kind of introduced maybe a year or 2 ago was that those things can actually split off of attacking towers as well. So Tempest is really strong these days.
Oh wow, that seems OP. I mean, that was always one of the things you had to build up your army before sieging the towers. That's a huge buff for sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of why we see it, from time to time. It was always a strong hero because of the Elemental Void, but it's even stronger now, in other ways.
Lane swap. Bubble's gonna look to go and rotate, get use out of that ultimate. I am hoping that Hellborn pays attention to this Magnus, because if he's allowed to just go straight into a portal key from this, he is going to just ravage this game. Puppet, Vindy, anybody he wants over and over.
We'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, Magnus is definitely going to be able to get his hands on the portal key, which will make it pretty dangerous for Puppet Master. But on the flip side, Puppet's having a really good game, and Behemoth is actually taking a lot of heat from Andromeda, but it's Andromeda that's in trouble now. So once again, we see a 1-for-1, but Vindy, watch out, bud.
Boom, boom.
Vindy gonna fall to Magnus, so nice. A nice little 2-for-1 exchange, so favored for the Legion there.
Support heroes be doing damage up in this mother. If it's not the Chipper rockets, that Andro with a double damage was like auto attacking for like level 3 stun like attack damage.
You were talking about the kelp field. Here's Tempest in a lot of trouble.
He could ult Void here, can't he? Oh, he's trying to get the 2. Eats the rock. Questionably eats the rocket, but I guess they're gonna use it.
Nice shell surf snipe. That was beautiful from Bubbles. Finding the right shell surf. Just it was like max range too. Finds the Tempest, but you know Chipper falls as well. But I know that you got to know that Chipper happy to trade his life for a Tempest.
Yeah. I mean, going on 10 minutes, not a single elemental void. He hit level 6 really early. I'm a proponent of you can't hold on to these major cooldowns. Like, I'm bewildered that Magnus hasn't put a point into Eruption yet. There's like
feels like he's just waiting, but Puppet Master taking a lot of trouble in the mid lane. Can he get away from Magnus? No, Magnus is going to finish him off. So beautiful stun lock combo from Magnus and Gemini onto Puppet Master, finding a very important kill. You know, I was just commenting about how good of a time Puppet Master was having in the bottom lane. He was up to about 440 GPM at one point, but that is going to stuff him down below 400 at this point. And
we're doing everything they can to prevent this tier 1 mid dying early, but it is immediately punished, and that's just going to make the tower fall even faster. Trying to clear the waves, but they're just still pouring in the damage.
Yeah, it's very close to falling, and we'll see if Tempest tries to push on it with another wave, but he might get spooked by the fact that Behemoth and Chipper are showing, so Vindicator is nearby. But
final chapter available.
And, you know, this could be one of the reasons you were talking about Elemental Void being held. This could be one of the reasons why he's hesitant to use it. You know, he might just be seeing it as kind of a wasted cooldown as long as final chapter isn't used, so might just be kind of waiting for that. But Puppet Master getting gone on by Kraken in the bottom lane, and he is going to fall. Tries to spawn the Voodoo Puppet on Kraken, but Kraken able to walk away from it. So it's kind of all fallen to pieces a little bit here for the Brigada.
Yeah.
Now down 4,000 gold.
Thought Legion team was really going to commit to this tier 1 mid, but they end up splitting off. They might just regroup in like a minute. Mag finishes portal key, and they're going to have the Eruption available. But that being said, he's only like 10 gold away from buying it. He's just like, let me buy it before I die, please.
He's so close. He buys it as soon as it ticks.
Andromeda died, I guess, to help make sure that he did secure that. But Mag's so low, you can't even like make a surprise re-entry there.
That's wild. What a big kill that would have been if Magnus actually ended up falling prior to picking up that portal key.
Oh,
and he said it best. We were watching his gold count, and he had to escape.
Been there. The timing was right, though. However, that was a really good attempt, and definitely hoping for the best. Final chapter was used, so they do have some time here. You know, I'd like to see them get a void off, even if it's just for kill. Like, the cooldown is not that long.
Yeah, he probably will attempt to use it at some point to see if he can get a glacial blast out here on Behemoth, but Behemoth's doing a good job of running away, but he's in range now.
He could catch them both. Cancels the TP. I'm just gonna stop anticipating it.
Yeah, just when it goes off, you'll know. The Kraken, speaking of portal keys, nearing his own as well. So Kraken and Magnus both having portal keys is going to be
Eruption used, channeling out. Oh, but he literally just blinked. Vindy might have saw it or something. I don't know. He backed up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if I can kind of alter the fog of war here. He may have gotten seen out by that ward of sight there next to the Legion agents.
Magnus isn't ready to give up just yet. He's like, I used my ult. I want this kill on Vindy. Comes in with the blink stun, and hey, we got 2 portal keys, guys. Welcome to Han.
Yeah, finished portal key on Kraken is big, so.
Behemoth. Nice shockwave.
Sorry, you don't have the bottle.
Tier 1's already gone. Tier 1 bot and mid. Kraken's gonna finish that top. They can't defend all of these towers at once. just like that, BNGG's up 8,500 gold. A much different game than when we saw from the first one.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where it went wrong. Okay, but we've got a skirmish brewing here. This could be a huge kelp field. Oh, but Mickey just won.
He went for the 4-man.
You like watching from the sidelines?
The juice is loose.
You just need to hang on a little bit longer. There's all these melee heroes and all the minions. Like a behemoth shockwave would be so decimating if he was able to get one off, and off the kelp field or something. But they just need to survive long enough for it to be an option.
Yeah, at this point they're just severely outpaced. The fact that Legion has these 2 portal keys and they're not even near one of their own, it's just a really tight spot for them to be in, and Legion is going to press the advantage that they have as well. They just have a mean tower pusher in the Tempest, so they're just going to go for all of the outer towers, bank up a huge gold lead, probably close to 20k by the time they start knocking. That's my prediction. 20k gold lead is the count that we'll see whenever they start going uphill.
Yeah, one of the problems, I feel like, Bubbles toe-to-toe with Magnus all game, and the farm and the levels, and he's been up there, but just not really a lot of impact. And when you play him in that solo safe lane, you expect something from what you gave him. You gave him a free lane against a melee hero. You might have struggled in your other lanes, and he just really hasn't been able to bring anything to the table so far.
Well, one of the troubles is also this mid Vindy. It's a great idea, and he got a good start with the Bloodlust, but unfortunately, it's not very much a playmaking hero. In most situations, it's pretty reactive. I mean, you can definitely make plays by opening up a team fight or a gank with the final chapter, but it also is a pretty major reactive cooldown as well. Trying to cancel things like Magnus and Tempest, and Kraken just finds that kill onto the bubbles. It's a big kill. It's a very long cooldown, the final chapter, and it's not able to keep pace with what Kraken and Magnus have been up to this game. And unfortunately, he just got rotated on by the Tempest as well. But Kraken,
Fisher in the bottom lane on the Kraken, good damage locking him down, using the final chapter to kind of stop something. I'm not sure why, but Kraken just walks away, boots on in. Lava Surge back in on the Vindicator. Now he's got some support. The Andro swapping in, and the tides are turning. Kraken comes in for that last little revenge slap. Another tower falls. What you got? Relentless.
So, we see again that there was a valiant effort to take out that Kraken, but they used the final chapter for it, and now basically Vindy is kind of useless.
Yeah.
Just from that mid lane hero standpoint, right? It's just kind of not what you want from the mid laner, right? You want a hero that's able to either keep up pace and farm with some flash farming abilities, or at least set up some plays with reasonable frequency. But Vindy just doesn't seem to offer that. So
doesn't it? I mean, I don't know if it would have been more helpful if he had that solo experience and he was able to pull ahead, or have. They didn't really get anything out of the behemoth in that mid lane with him. But we'll see what they can do. They still have a decent team to delay the push. Like you said, 20k is that goal mark. We're halfway there already. But we'll see. They've held on through some rough patches. They already battled a 20k gold lead once this day. So 18,000 with a decently similar composition. So we'll see if they can't fight their way back into this.
Yeah, I mean, Spell Shards picked up on Bubbles. Spell Shards won, so he's going to be, I think he's definitely didn't prioritize going for the portal key because he doesn't really need to. The fact that Behemoth is not close to his own means that they're probably not going to be staging any kind of fight anytime soon. So by going Spell Shards instead, but
yeah, Bubbles having a real hard time here.
all I was going to say is the fact that he went Spell Shards means that he's got Vindicator gets swapped in.
Big damage coming out here, but not enough. Saw Blades did drop Andromeda low, but that might even be an illusion. I can't even tell. But it's going to make things a little bit trickier. They do a lot of damage in this 30 seconds. They have a Catapult and a second wave, but they're opting to go for Kongor here. Not exactly sure what. Maybe they thought they couldn't do much in 10 seconds, but
I kind of like it. I mean, it's they're going to be taking their own Kongor after this, so they're going to stack up 2 Kongor buffs, get a token, and you know, once again, we've got no retaliation, suitable retaliation coming out from the Hellborn team after they do this. That token's just going to make it's just going to make pushing uphill that much easier.
Legion has wards placed at both of the lane entrances. I mean, they feel pretty damn secure here. And they even spot bubbles up at the top. I wouldn't be surprised if they're low health, they don't take the engagement, but they are going to chase down the Puppet Master here. Andromeda keeping an eye on him in the tree somehow.
It haunts me.
Yeah, and you can actually see that Puppet went for the tablet, so an interesting item choice. Probably decided to buy it for various reasons, you know, extra interrupt on Tempest before the BKB and potentially pushing people out of the Tempest hole after Tempest gets a Shrunken Head. But, well, Kraken ulti actually cannot be pushed out of anymore.
Well, once you reach the center, but, you know, you can...
Oh, no, that's the thing. That was the major change that made this hero extremely strong. To release the Kraken, Behemoth just gets deleted in the mid lane, but... And Bubbles as well.
Release the Kraken. No money, no problems.
Yep, Storm Spiriting the target. Pretty much guaranteed that that could not happen.
Yeah, the GG is called, and we're actually don't even need to see an uphill push. But what I was going to say about Kraken